We're back in the comfortable confines of the Georgia Dome. Mike Smith engineered one of the biggest turnarounds in NFL history last year. 7 more wins than the year before and a spot in the postseason. His guys played hard last week in a tough physical game against the Jets. Perry Fewell on the Buffalo sideline took over for Dick Duran on November 17th. He told us it has been such a great experience and he just doesn't want it to end. And he also has his team playing hard. Bills won the toss and they'll receive. Michael Kanan, the Falcons punter, who also kicks off. Strong leg. He tied a team record with 5 touchbacks in 2 games this season, both against Carolina. Fred Jackson is back deep, and he has done it all for the Buffalo Bills. And we are underway here in Atlanta. A line drive kick fielded by Jackson a yard deep in the end zone. And tripped up at the 16-yard line. Well, Brian Brohm will start at quarterback for Buffalo. He put up tremendous numbers at Louisville. There are a lot of people within the Buffalo organization who want to see what he can do, because how he performs will have a big impact not only on his future with the Bills, but also perhaps on the direction that Buffalo goes in next year's draft.
Well, and the key for Brian Brohm, Bill, is that he's got to go out and trust him. He's playing football. Now, it's a different level, sure, but the only way he's going to have a chance to be successful, and we talked about it yesterday, is if he goes out and trusts himself.
From the 17-yard line, Jackson gets it on first down. Great penetration by the Falcons, and he's stopped for a loss. Loss of 2, 2nd and 12, just underway here in Atlanta. Brohm, and that's caught by Corey McIntyre, the fullback. 3rd and 7 for Buffalo. Terrell Owens is the motion man. Brohm under pressure, sacked. Jonathan Babineau with his 6th sack of the season.
Well, not a lot Brian Brohm could do there, but I do think I sensed a little bit of indecision. Brian Brom's got to know now, in the NFL, you take that pump. If it's not there, you pump it one time, they're going to be coming. You've got to find a way to get rid of that ball. Know where your safety valves are. A little bit difficult, though, when you've only been with the team for 6 weeks and really only working with the offensive reps 3 days this week. So he's probably not too familiar with where all those guys are going to be.
It'll be 3 and out for the Buffalo Bills. Ryan Morman standing 3 yards deep in his own end zone. So Atlanta will have good field position to start. Weems trying to get to the corner, does so, and into Buffalo territory. Tripped up at the 43-yard line. Ryan will throw on first down and take a shot up top, going deep. Roddy White with a touchdown. And that didn't take long. He beat Reggie Corner, starting today at the left cornerback position, 42 yards. Ryan to White.
Well, we knew that Roddy White was going to have a chance to make some plays today with Terrence McGee, the only true shutdown corner on the Buffalo Bills team. And right away, first time coming out, Matt Ryan got the matchup he wanted. He saw Reggie Corner matched up on his superstar, Roddy White, on the outside. And what a great catch going up and getting that football.
After the touchdown catch, Roddy White needs just 10 yards to become only the 2nd Falcon to reach 1,000 yards in 3 consecutive seasons. Andre Rison did it back from 92 to 94, and that is not the kind of start that Perry Fewell was looking for.
Great start if you're Roddy White and the Falcons, but no, Perry Fewell, last thing he wanted to see was a big play touchdown to get this crowd into it, to get this Atlanta Falcons team feeling good about things.
Caden's kick. Yard deep in the end zone. Jackson. And upended just past the 10. Got it out close to the 12-yard line. This is just the 10th meeting between these two teams. The Falcons lead the series 5-4. The only time the Bills have won here in Atlanta was way back in 1973. As Brian Brohm will go back to work. It has been a whirlwind week for him. Said he didn't realize Ryan Fitzpatrick was hurt as badly as he was. He said, I thought I'd be getting the second team reps. Suddenly I was out there running with the starters. And a whistle before the snap.
False start. Number 7-3 offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, the Bills are coming off a nightmare game in terms of penalties last week against New England. They were called 11 times for 124 yards. We asked Perry Fuel what was the #1 thing the Bills needed to do today against Atlanta. He said penalties. He said we cannot continue to shoot ourselves in the foot.
One of the big problems too, Bill, with a new quarterback, it's a different snap count, different cadence. That's what happened right there. It's not too loud in here for Kirk Chambers to hear that.
Toss back to Jackson. He cuts back inside, and a nice pickup close to the 20-yard line. Second and a manageable 7. Again to Jackson. He cuts it back inside. And out close to the 23-yard line. Curtis Lofton, the middle linebacker, in his second year out of Oklahoma, the second-round draft pick, made the tackle.
Well, Bill, one of the things that we'll have a chance to develop as this game goes along, you know, all the different shifting around in this Buffalo Bills offense. The offensive line, the quarterback, you saw the jumping off sides. You see a little bit of indecision sometimes in a young quarterback. The bottom line is that this Atlanta Falcons team knows it too. They're going to try and do whatever they can to confuse Buffalo from an offensive perspective.
Brohm will go from the shotgun on 3rd and 3. Lets it go. Incomplete. Over the head of Terrell Owens. Jonathan Babineau had the pressure once again.
And this is the second time on 3rd down that Brian Brohm has had a chance to make a play. They've come with pressure both times. Atlanta has come with a linebacker pressure, and right there, Terrell Owens not really open, double covered it, as a matter of fact. Nobody seemed to be open running across the field for Buffalo, so Brian Brohm really had nowhere to go with that football.
Eric Weems had a nice return, 17 yards on the first punt from Brian Moorman. Moorman standing at his own 10-yard line. Booming punt. Weems feels it at the 25. A flag, and he's brought down hard at the 30. And let's check the penalty. George Wilson, playing on special teams, made the stop. A big hit.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that hit by Corey McIntyre, we could feel it all the way up here. Unbelievable hit by the fullback.
A 51-yard punt.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 42 receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Atlanta, timeout.
This is the Falcons' final home game of the season, trying for back-to-back winning seasons for the first time in the 44-year history of the franchise. And a nice hole for Jason Snelling. Norwood has checked in. He's the lone back on 2nd down. Big hole for Norwood, and he burst through to the 25-yard line.
This is really a unique way of running the draw play that many teams are starting to emulate in the NFL. Watch Matt Ryan. He actually takes a 3-step drop here and sets up like he's going to throw. Pauses. That delay right there gets Paul Posluszny, all the linebackers dropping back because they're reading pass. It gets a very easy, very nice opportunity to get the running back Snelling up into that hole and into the second level of that defense very quickly.
Pickup of 10 yards and a first down from the 25-yard line. Norwood stays in the game, and they give it to him. Picking his way across the 30, close to the 32. Second down. Tough running inside. Down to the 33-yard line goes Norwood. Posluszny made the tackle. He's quietly come back and put together a very good season after breaking his arm and missing 4 games. After week 1, he's working on a streak of 3 straight games with an interception. He had 9 tackles and a pick last week against New England. Third down, 3rd and 2. The slant, and that works. Another first down. Marty Booker with the catch. His 13th reception of the season. Dante Whitner, the free safety, made the stop.
Well, to this point, we've seen good balance from this Atlanta Falcons offense. A lot of confidence, a lot of good rhythm. You saw the big play touchdown in the opening play. And right here, a nice 3rd down conversion set up very nicely. Marty Booker came across in motion behind, almost a double pick on the outside. Just came underneath, forced the Buffalo Bills defensive backs to back up and play softly. A nice clean lane for Matt Ryan to throw that ball and make the conversion.
Another first down from the 43. Play action. Ryan trying to set up the screen and tosses it away.
Well, that play was a mess from the get-go.
I don't think there was an eligible receiver out in that area.
I'm not exactly sure what happened. Will Svitek, the right tackle, who's coming off the field, ended up turning around looking like he was waiting for a running back to come in on a screen pass, but there was no running back out there. No one for Matt Ryan to throw the ball to.
Snelling is the lone back in his 3rd year out of Virginia. 2nd and 10. Ryan incomplete. Crowd wanted pass interference. Tried to hit Muhaley, the fullback. Harris had the coverage, the rookie out of Oklahoma, 5th round draft pick.
A good break on the ball by Nick Harris, the rookie, 5th round draft choice out of Oklahoma. Maybe a little bit of early contact there, but I don't think that ball was really catchable anyway. I think that ball was thrown too far out in front for there to have been a completion.
So 3rd and long for the Atlanta Falcons. They lead 7-0. Goes back off of the blitz. They rush 4. Ryan flush from the pocket, and he'll throw it away. Falcons will have to punt.
Well, smart play by Matt Ryan right there. Obviously didn't see what he liked instead of taking the sack, and that's one of the things and one of the areas that for a young quarterback very difficult to understand and learn when to get rid of that football. Matt Ryan done a great job. He's had great protection for his 2 years here for the most part. Very low sacks. In fact, 13 of his 28 starts, he hasn't been sacked once. That's a very good number, but a lot of that is because of his sense of knowing when to get rid of that football. That right there was a good example.
Kanan. Good high punt. Fair catch called for by Parrish and made at the 22-yard line. So the Bills will take over 1st and 10 from their own 22-yard line. High formation. Bills still looking for their initial first down of the game. Jackson right side. Well, Brian Brohm was very candid when we talked with him about his time in Green Bay. He said, I just didn't handle things very well when I got there. He said, frankly, I got rattled. He said that had never happened to him before. He wasn't trusting what he'd been working on in practice and was hesitating when he got into games in the preseason. He said that today he just wants to come out and play with confidence and avoid the mistakes and just move the chains.
Yeah, he wants to move the chains. Now, they haven't moved the chains yet today, but this is about the time now in a game where a quarterback starts to feel like, okay, the butterflies are gone. Now we're just playing football. Should start seeing some good things here from Brian Brohm.
Again, Jackson cuts it to the outside and has some running room and a first down for the Buffalo Bills. Thomas Deku, the free safety, drove him out of bounds. A pickup of 12 yards from Fred Jackson.
And that helps when you have a running back like Fred Jackson making a play like that. But let's talk about the quarterbacks for a second. With Ryan Fitzpatrick declared inactive today, Trent Edwards on IR. Look at that. Both of them now are 1 for 2 for about the exact same quarterback rating. That 12 yards in the NFL between the two of them. There are not many teams that you could ever think of in the NFL annals that have been even close to that on their full roster.
Pump fake up the sideline for T.O. and overthrows him. Brent Grimes had nice coverage. He's coming off a 2-interception game last week against the Jets, the second to seal the victory for Atlanta.
And Grimes out there starting because of the injury to Chris Houston, the 3rd-year cornerback. But I'll tell you what, you said that was good coverage. It was pretty good coverage, but this in the NFL, Bill, is open. Look at T.O. is over the top. There is a spot to put that football. Brian Brohm has got to give his big play receiver, T.O., a chance to make that play.
So 2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass. Jackson back inside, lowers his shoulder, and gets it out to the 35-yard line. Well, this is not good news for the Buffalo Bills. The left tackle, Jonathan Scott, is down. We're back in Atlanta. Jonathan Scott was helped off the field, so that means that Andy Levitre, the rookie out of Oregon State, will take over left tackle, and Andre Ramsey will be the left guard. So two rookies on the left side for the Bills. Out into the flat to Jackson. Good tough running and out to the 42-yard line.
You know, Bill, I think the Buffalo Bills coaches are a little bit confused, because we talked to Perry Fuel about that exact situation yesterday. He said that if one of the tackles got hurt, Levitre would move to left tackle and Ramsey would come in at left guard. You see right there, it's the right ankle for Jonathan Scott. You can see, and he was very tentative walking off the field. But what happened out there in the field, they actually put Levitre, they kept him at guard, and they put Ramsey at left tackle, which is totally different than what they told us yesterday. So they might even be confused, not knowing what to do out there.
Well, Levitre had 2 starts at the left tackle position earlier this year, and moved back to the guard spot. On 4th down, Weems will let it go, and it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. Back at the Georgia Dome, a lone Buffalo Bills fan there in a sea of Atlanta Falcons red.
And that look of perplexion has been there quite a bit for the Buffalo Bills this year. Not a lot to get excited about if you're a Bills fan.
From the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Snelling with some running room. And a nice pickup on 1st down. Reggie Corner pushed him out of bounds.
Well, Bill, one of the things that everybody knows about the Buffalo Bills is that they're the last-ranked run defense in the NFL. So you're going to see every team come out and try and run the ball. And the reason why the Buffalo Bills have not been so good against the run, have been so bad, I guess I should say, they make a lot of good plays at the line of scrimmage in the backfield, but they give up a lot of big plays like that right there. They'll stop you, stop you, stop you. Then all of a sudden, boom, they give it a big 20-yard gain.
That was good for 18 yards and a 1st down. Ryan will throw. And a whistle before the snap.
Before the last snap, there was a buzz by the replay booth.
Who are they going to call that penalty on? I know.
I'm not sure why there would be a buzz from the replay booth unless somebody challenged the call.
There was nothing to challenge, really. I think that had to be an inadvertent buzz, but you can't penalize the replay booth, I don't think.
And maybe checking the spot. Talk about the Buffalo run defense. The Bills have allowed 9 running backs to rush for over 100 yards against them this season, but last week they limited the Patriots to just 3.2 yards per run.
The down will be replayed. 1st down.
We'll replay 1st down.
Yeah, that was the inadvertent buzz. Doesn't happen very often. Could have been reviewing the spot, but that would only be reviewed if there was a challenge made by Perry Fuel on the other side. So that there was no red flag thrown. So
the longest run that the Bills gave up last week against New England was 13 yards. So they've got things heading in the right direction, but that was a nice gain by Snelling. On 1st down, incomplete. White was the intended receiver.
The key factors in that game, Bill, too, were not only did Matt Ryan spread the ball around in that last drive, but he was not sacked once against a very good New York defense, and no turnover, no interceptions that game.
Ryan will throw again. Opposite side of the field, loses the football. And let's see if they rule an incomplete pass or a fumble. Aaron Schobel, the 2-time Pro Bowler, had the pressure.
Looks like they're going to rule it as a fumble. Good pressure off the edge by the long-time star defensive end Aaron Schobel, coming back underneath, trying to strip that ball. Fortunately for Matt Ryan, he was able to fall on that ball, and it always happens that way. You talk about no turnovers last week against the Jets. Right there, almost a big turnover for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, Matt Ryan started 2 for 2, 52 yards and a touchdown, 0 for 4 since, but that's caught by Wright for a 1st down into Buffalo territory. Drayton Florence made the stop the right corner. but not after a good pickup by the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, this Atlanta offense, a good job of protecting right there. Gave Matt Ryan the opportunity to step up and make the throw, but there are playmakers on this offense. As you said, that catch right there puts Roddy White over 1,000 yards. Tony Gonzalez has been very productive this year. The only things that have been lacking this year have been consistency at running back and quarterback with the injuries.
Norwood picks up a couple. 2nd and 8 for the Falcons. Ryan wide open. Booker down to the 21-yard line, and the Falcons are on the move.
I really like what the Atlanta Falcons are doing here, Bill. Matt Ryan's getting up under the center, acting like he's going to run the snap, and then he steps out. He's already forced Buffalo to show what they're going to do pre-snap, and then when he backs out, he changes the play. He knows the coverage. He can go to a play that he likes, and boy, they're making it look easy right now.
That was good for 22 yards.
Right here, you see it again. Matt Ryan knows what look he's got. He's changing the play to something he likes.
Straight back, flush from the pocket, rolling, dumps it off, incomplete. Jenkins was the intended receiver.
Well, the interesting thing so far to this point, Bill, is that we have not seen. We expected to really see a lot of opportunities for Tony Gonzalez to make some plays, and as we approach the red zone, he always becomes a factor once you get across that 20-yard line. But there really is nobody on the Buffalo Bills defense that really can match up well with Tony Gonzalez, yet we haven't seen a ball thrown to him yet.
Snelling gets the handoff. Great running inside and down close to a first down. Maybe about a yard short. Tony Gonzalez came in needing 6 catches to be the first tight end in NFL history to reach 1,000 receptions.
Nothing tricky about that play right there. Just a straight handoff and a good job of sensing where the soft spot in that Buffalo defense is. Snelling, he wasn't looking to run around anybody or juke out anybody. He protected that ball with 2 arms and just said, I'm going to take it straight ahead. Bring me down if you can.
Matt Ryan will let the play clock run down and take a timeout. Well, after the timeout, Falcons leading 7-0. Wanting more. 50 seconds left in the first. High formation. They give it to the up man. Haley, and he gets it inside the 10 down to the 9-yard line.
This has been an impressive drive by the Falcons. You know, we talked about Matt Ryan stepping up under the center. It truly is a no-huddle offense they've been running on this drive. Now, there you see the short huddle. They're not too deep for the ball. It actually is a true huddle this time. They've been mixing it up. But what Matt Ryan is doing by setting up under the center quickly is he's forcing Buffalo to remain with the same personnel on the field, which is exactly what Atlanta wants him to do.
So 1st and goal from the 10. Snelling.
Whoa.
He came in averaging almost 4 yards a carry, similar physically to Michael Turner, a big, powerful runner. We're back and ready to start the second quarter. The Falcons have been effective all year in converting goal-to-go situations to touchdowns, one of the best in the NFL, and they have dominated, Steve, so far. 146 total yards to 27 for Buffalo.
Yeah, the score's only 7-0 at this point, but the Falcons have been in complete control from the opening bell here today.
Jason Snelling, 3rd year out of Virginia, is the lone setback. And a whistle before the snap, and we've got a false start.
False start. Number 84 offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Roddy White in a hurry.
Here's Roddy right up here at the top. Just a little bit early, but that's all it takes.
So they'll move him back just outside the 12-yard line, and it'll be 2nd and goal again. Ryan, and the ball is loose. Was his arm going forward?
That's a sack fumble all the way. And with that
covered by the Falcons, Aaron Schobel was in there quickly.
And we do have a penalty marker on the field.
The ball was fumbled and recovered by Atlanta. Runner declared himself down. After the play, personal foul, number 77 offense, late hit. 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Tyson Clabo, the big man out of Wake Forest, officially listed at 331.
Well, you can't say enough about number 94, Aaron Schobel, coming around the edge right there. You got a mismatch. First off, you got Justin Peele, number 87, the tight end, trying to block him, but you're going to see the late hit coming in right here from Clabo just after the whistle. Yeah, you can't get away with that. That's you're too big of a man. It's too obvious to try and get away with that. But
what can Kelsey's flying?
What can you say about Aaron Schobel? The guy continues to produce year after year.
So 3rd and goal from the 33. Ryan lets it go out of bounds. Jenkins was in the vicinity.
And that time, it was Chris Kelsey with the pressure on Matt Ryan. He definitely had his receiver wide open. It was Michael Jenkins who was open up the field, but Matt Ryan could not step into it, make that throw. Kelsey hit him right in the chest. It's kind of hard to throw when you're heading toward the mat.
So we'll see Matt Bryant, who kicked a 62-yarder to beat Philadelphia back in 2006. This is a try from 51 yards out. 4 of 5 in field goal tries since joining the club at the beginning of the month. Just underway in the 2nd quarter, and T.O. on the sideline doing a little personal grooming. Getting ready to go out and go back to work. And I'll tell you, the Bills need him because they have not generated any offense so far. Only 1 first down. How about this kick? Back of the end zone. It'll be a touchback.
Well, you mentioned futility to this point for the Buffalo Bills offense. Only 1 first down to this point in the ball game. 7 for the Atlanta Falcons. Another measure. Buffalo only 1 play of 10 or more yards. Atlanta was 6 already. So Buffalo needs to jumpstart this offense a little bit, keep the defense off the field.
Marshawn Lynch has checked in, and they give it to him inside. Trying to churn for extra yards. Stopped at the 22 after a pickup of 2 by Eric Coleman, the strong safety. He's the veteran leader of Atlanta's young secondary in his 6th year out of Washington State. And an inauspicious start for the Buffalo Bills.
Not a real good first 3 drives there. Perry Fuels got to be a little bit concerned. I'd like to see Buffalo come out and throw the ball, maybe a little play action, a little more on first down, because you know Atlanta's going to try and shut down the running game, try and see if Brian Brohm can make plays.
Corner blitz, they get it out in a hurry. That's caught by Lee Evans. And Evans is close to a first down. Brent Grimes made the stop. Lee Evans came in today only 31 yards away from being the Bills' 3rd all-time leading receiver.
And this is a guy, Bill, that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Lee Evans, what he's done in Buffalo, and he's done it in relative obscurity in his 6th year out of Wisconsin. But I truly believe that if he were in the right system with the right offensive philosophy, a little bit of stability and a quarterback he can work a relationship out with, he could be one of the very, very elite receivers in the NFL.
And that was a good throw from Brian Brohm. He'll try to duplicate it on the other side. Lynch can't bring it in. Getting back for a moment to Lee Evans. He's really the quiet leader of this Buffalo offense. He's been elected as a captain the last 4 years, and he just goes about his business. He plays hard, and he gives them a terrific dimension with his speed, and that opens things up underneath.
He's so consistent with what he does, and never gets down. He's obviously got to be frustrated like anybody at this level. Does not show it, though. Just keeps going about his business like you said. And now they're in the Wildcat back here with Fred Jackson taking the snap.
Yep, he'll receive the snap, and he'll run it. Earlier this year, he threw a touchdown pass to Lee Evans. And it was fun listening to both of them describe it, because you know, Lee was talking about, well, look, just throw it up there and I'll go get it. 3rd and 4. The Bills are desperate for a first down. And the Falcons are going to take a timeout. Back at the Georgia Dome, the Buffalo Bills still have not converted a third down. They haven't crossed into Atlanta territory as of yet. 3rd and 4 from their own 35-yard line. Nelson, the tight end, is the motion man, showing blitz. Here they come. Brom gets rid of it, incomplete, over the head of Lee Evans.
That was Coy Wire, the linebacker, coming, and it's exactly what you would expect with a young quarterback. And Buffalo, let's first off establish, they're the worst third down team in the NFL. You're going to see Coy Wire creeping up right here, just coming straight up the gap. You're going to see no one really touches him. Marshawn Lynch is trying to get a piece of him, but he's coming, timed it up so well. But Buffalo, 25% on third down on the season, worse in the NFL. And you got a young quarterback that's showing exotic looks. It's tough. Tough formula for success there.
Weems will have some room from the 10. Brian Brom, 3 of 7 for 20 yards. No interceptions in his first NFL regular season action. Starting quarterback today for the Falcons. 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line. They keep it on the ground. A nice hole. Good running inside by Snelling. 2nd and 3 after the pickup of 7 by Snelling. Norwood checks in the game. Give it to him on the delay. And he fights his way out across the 30 to the 33-yard line. George Wilson made the stop.
And boy, well, that was a great tackle by George Wilson. Saved a potentially huge play for Atlanta. Norwood, if he wasn't brought down by his shoestrings right there, I'll tell you what, he would have been, he'd still be running right now. You'll see George Wilson right there, just gets him, hangs on to that right foot. But Jarius Norwood had about 15 yards between himself and any other defender for Buffalo.
They're going to measure Norwood. Normally Atlanta's change of pace for Michael Turner. 54 carries, 14 receptions coming in, and on the nose of the football. .11:21 left to play in the half. It's been all Falcons. The Bills have not been able to get anything going on offense. It's interesting, the Buffalo defense did a nice job against Tom Brady last week. He completed just 11 of 23 for 115 yards, a touchdown, an interception, a quarterback rating of 59.1. It's the 3rd lowest quarterback rating for Tom Brady in a victory since he came into the league in 2000. Bryant checks it down to Norwood. And Norwood fights his way to a nice gain. A late flag. And we'll check the penalty.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, number 76 offense. 15-yard penalty, the down counts, 2nd down.
Quino Janaka, who started today at right guard for Harvey Dahl.
Yeah, and that's the kind of play Mike Smith right there. You just kind of shake your head and say, come on now, we got a good drive going. We're in control of this ball game. We had a nice, solid completion there on 2nd down. You do something, you lose your poise, you lose your composure, and all of a sudden now your team's in a 2nd and long situation, 2nd and 16. And this is where bad things can happen.
Gonzalez is in motion. Norwood the lone back. Ryan, new step drop, gets it out. Gonzalez came in needing 6 catches to be the first tight end in NFL history to reach 1,000 receptions.
Dante Whitner, the safety, number 20, covering Tony Gonzalez, was asking for a little bit of a push-off, which I have to agree. You'll see Tony Gonzalez at the top of his route. He gets into Dante Whitner and definitely uses his big body. You can see, watch the extension right there. Just a little bit of that push. That's what gives him the separation. And these are things, Bill, that you learn over a long career, catching a lot of balls like Tony Gonzalez.
13th year out of Cal. Ryan has time, guns it for White, incomplete. Couldn't quite get up and haul it in.
Yeah, Matt Ryan had Roddy White standing wide open, but I don't believe Roddy White was really in his progression as far as who to throw the ball to. He's almost getting ready to get rid of the football. Last second, he saw Roddy White standing wide open on the sideline and tried to kind of arm it over there. The ball floated on him and a little bit too high for Roddy White to get up and make the catch.
Janaka got an earful from Mike Smith after the penalty. 4th and 8. Parrish back deep. Makes the fair catch at the 26. Call it the 27-yard line. 10:05 left to go in the half. 10-0 Falcons. To McIntyre, the fullback. And Brian Brohm made a nice play to get rid of the football.
Good athletic play by Brian Brohm right there. Kept us cool under pressure. Knew exactly where his release receiver was. It was kind of a bootleg action, but right there you can see he was not surprised. He expected it was Vance Walker coming up the field in his face. And one of the things a young quarterback sometimes with a big arm like Brian Brohm has, they have problems with those touch throws right there. A nice, accurate, soft throw, very catchable ball from Brian Brohm.
2nd and 2. Toss back to Jackson. Jackson with a big hole. Tried to take it back outside and brought down after another nice gain at the 40-yard line, and that will move the chains. Stephen Nicholas, the strong side linebacker, made the tackle.
Well, there we go. We got another conversion here, another first down for the Buffalo Bills. And I think it's all started or triggered by the fact they threw that little bootleg on first down. I think that's the way they've got to start attacking a little bit. Atlanta is loading up so big on the running game on first down that the only way this Buffalo Bills team is going to make any yards on first down is to play action. Let Brian Brohm get back there, get in a rhythm when they're playing the run, see if he can make some plays.
And you saw Fred go to the sidelines, kind of testing that hand, and Marshawn Lynch is checked in. Short drop, incomplete. That was intended for the tight end, Sean Nelson. Nelson coming off a team-high 4 catches last week against New England, and there's Fred Jackson on the sideline. You do not want this guy out of the game. No,
I mean, it's been a terrible year for the Buffalo Bills in terms of injury and everything else. Obviously, the coaching replacement and then firing their offensive coordinator prior to the season. It's just been one thing after another. But an injury to your key player, Fred Jackson, that would just be the ultimate loss.
Bills still looking for their first trip into Atlanta territory. Brown trying to set up the screen. Does to Lynch. Lynch with some running room. A first down, and they are into Falcons territory.
Well, I like it. You see Brian Brohm right there getting a little confidence, and that Buffalo Bill fan pretty happy as well. But you let Brian Brohm get a little confidence going with some completions. That's on short little bootlegs and screen passes. Get some rhythm going, get him feeling good about things, get this team believing some good things are going to happen. Brian Brohm knows that to play with confidence, you got to have some good things happen at some point.
Pick up of 13 yards. 1st and 10 from the Atlanta 47-yard line. Brohm straight back with time. He's going to take a shot up the field. Terrell Owens intercepted. Tremendous coverage by Chris Owens. The rookie who bounced back last week after giving up that long touchdown pass to Braylon Edwards.
You know what? I really am disappointed. If Terrell Owens wants to be involved in the ball game, he's got to go up after this football, not let this thing be intercepted.
Brohm throws the pick, and the Falcons will have it when we come back. After the 2nd interception of the year by Chris Owens, the Falcons take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Jarris Norwood is the lone back, and up the sidelines, a flag on the play. It was intended for Michael Jenkins, and we could have pass interference.
It's illegal contact on Reggie Corner, but it was a smart play. That's one of the times you actually say, you know, that's a smart penalty by a defensive player.
Before the pass, illegal contact, number 27 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And you know why it's a good penalty? It's 5 yards. I mean, he could have given up a touchdown if he lets him go. It was a double move to Michael Jenkins. Michael Jenkins was going to run right past him. Super job by Reggie Corner saying, you know what, I'm beat. I'm not going to let him score a touchdown. I'd rather take a penalty and give up 5 yards.
Corner started today at left cornerback with Terrence McGee out. and placed on IR. That's 18 players on IR for the Buffalo Bills, missing 5 starters on defense. The delay to Norwood gets it out close to the 28-yard line. Let's take another look, Steve, at the interception. And what about this effort from Terrell Owens?
Well, was it a perfect pass? No, but look, he's looking up at that football. He's got plenty of time to adjust to it and at least protect his quarterback. If you want your quarterback to give you a chance to make some plays, and T.O., he knows that. He told Brian right there, he said, you know what, I got to make a little bit better effort to make that, not let that interception happen. But you know what, it should never happen. A receiver who's been around as long as Terrell Owens has, he knows that to earn your quarterback's trust, you got to fight for the football.
2nd and 7. Norwood tries to cut back and slips. Inside of 7 minutes remaining in the opening half. 10-0 Falcons. Matt Ryan, the 3rd overall pick of the 2008 draft, coming off a spectacular rookie year where he led Atlanta to the playoffs, going for almost 3,500 yards. Shook off the rust last week after being out for 2 weeks and led the Falcons 73 yards on 11 plays and hit Tony Gonzalez with a game-winning touchdown on 4th and goal. Ryan fires, knocked away. Jenkins was the intended receiver, and that was a good job closing by Reggie Corner.
Yeah, good break on the football by Reggie Corner. Not a great pass from Matt Ryan. You're going to see coming inside is going to be Jenkins right there, and watch, he has to wait a little bit on the ball. Right there, it allows Reggie Corner to get in there and make the play. You know, in the NFL, Bill, if you've got a guy behind you, you are considered open. That ball's got to be out in front of Michael Jenkins. Matt Ryan knows that. Otherwise, it's not going to be a completion.
Michael Kanan, the punter. Strong leg, standing back at his own 12-yard line. Roscoe Parrish awaits the punt. And this is a boomer. Parrish at the 15. He's dangerous, but finally brought down at the 27-yard line.
Blocking the play. Kicking team, receiving team. Half the distance to goal from the end of the kick, 1st down.
Blocking, we couldn't quite hear who it was on, but a block in the back.
Unfortunately for the Bills, they're going to march this back. It's going to be a long field for Buffalo. Jackson is back in. I formation, standing in his own end zone. Short drop to Owens. And he'll have a 1st down. Brent Grimes made the stop.
I love the play call. Backed up in your own end zone. Soft coverage on the outside. Terrell Owens right there, nice catch, takes it and goes. That's a way to get the confidence back from your quarterback. But I like the confidence that Perry Fuel and Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator for Buffalo, showed in the young quarterback Brian Brom. Let him throw out of his own end zone.
And he needs one more catch to reach the 1,000 mark for his career. He'd become the 6th player in NFL history to do that. Jackson, little stutter step, and then swarmed under. So 2nd and 9. 199 receptions for Owens. Brom checks it down to Jackson out in the flat. Big hit by Brent Grimes in bringing Jackson down. Brent Jackson, the Bills' leading rusher, 2nd leading receiver coming in. Needed 189 yards here in the final 2 games to reach 1,000 rushing for the 1st time in his career.
And when we sat down with Richie Incognito, the right guard, only been here a couple weeks, but he figured out quick enough that Fred Jackson is a warrior that offensive line really have taken it upon themselves. They want to get him to 1,000 yards over these next 2 weeks.
He's another person very impressed by number 22. 3rd and 2. Brom, and they convert on 3rd down. Lee Evans. And we have a flag.
Roughing the passer.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 71, defense. Late hit on the passer. 15 yards from the end of the run, 1st down.
Yeah, Croy Bierman came in, hit Brian Brom late. I like what I'm seeing out of Brian Brom right now. You see what happens. Here's the throw. Good composure right there, picking up the first down, and then let's see the roughing. You know, that I don't think Croy Bierman, if anybody was guilty, I think it would have been Chauncey Davis, who actually hit him from the front. Croy Bierman was actually just kind of caught him as he was bumped back into him.
So after the penalty, 1st and 10 from the Buffalo 46-yard line. Bomb to the sideline. That's Terrell Owens, and that's 1,000 for his career.
There you have it. He's going to keep the football. Flipped it to his coach. Not the most impressive catch, but a catch nonetheless. And I'll tell you, over the course of his career, say what you want, and we were on him a little bit earlier about the not going up after the football. It's been a heck of a career.
Terrell Owens has had, and he came in 88 yards away from becoming the NFL's 3rd all-time leading receiver. One milestone down, one more to go for Owens. Jackson fighting to get back to the line of scrimmage and dives forward to the 45. And right behind him, there you see Tony Gonzalez. 5 away from becoming the first tight end ever to reach the 1,000 reception mark.
The 6th all-time to do it. Say what you want. That's pretty darn impressive. And to be able to do the things that he's done for the length of the career that he's had, and Tony Gonzalez right there, he appreciates it. He respects it. He's hoping to have his day today as well.
And the Buffalo Bills will take a timeout. And we're back in the Georgia Dome, 10-0 Falcons. And the Buffalo Bills right now moving the football for the first time in the game.
Well, there we had a shot of Perry Fuel. You know, we've got a chance to get to know him this year. It's our 3rd game we've done, and what an impressive guy. You know, they lost the first game. They've kind of alternated every week. They've got 2 wins, 3 losses, but he's really had a good time enjoying it, and I think he's done a pretty commendable job keeping this team playing hard to this point.
3rd and 1 for the Bills. And a flag.
False start. Number 22 offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Just been a problem for Buffalo all season long. Doesn't usually come from Fred Jackson, but
it's not
penalties
much.
have killed the Bills.
Just that little lane. You can't have 2 guys moving at the same time.
We asked Perry Fuel what he talked with Brian Brom about this week. He said, you know, just go out and play the game. Don't be tight. Go out and have fun. I had to be a head coach for the first time a few weeks ago, and that's what I told myself. Just go out and have fun. 3rd and 6. From midfield, Brom guns it. And it depends on where they mark Terrell Owens' forward progress. He's going to be close to a 1st down.
It is right on that mark. Looks from our angle here like he might have it, but they're going to definitely have to measure it. Good solid throw. I do like what I'm seeing out of Brian Brom. You saw right there, Bill, you see him, he was looking up the field. He knew he was going to come to TO, but he wanted to make sure that Mike Peterson, the linebacker underneath, did not get an early break on that ball. He held him with his eyes, threw the ball on rhythm, and a nice accurate throw for what will be pretty darn close to a 1st down here.
And Brian said that was a concern for him, not hesitating, just going out and committing to make the play. And that is a 1st down by the length of the football.
And you know, Bill, that's so easy to say. You're talking about, you look at the 1st downs. Now, since Buffalo's gotten 7 since the 1st quarter, but Brian Brom telling us that, you know, I've just got to go out and trust myself and not be indecisive. That's what he felt held him back in Green Bay, but it's so much easier to say that than it is to actually do it. You know, when you're in a situation like this, and I've been in many different situations during the course of my career, sometimes you just got to go back to playing in the sandlot. You know what? Just go out and throw and catch and make it as simple as you can.
Offset eye, Owens in motion. 1st and 10 from the Atlanta 44. Jackson avoids 1 tackler, fights his way forward. Maybe 1. And Fred wants a face mask.
I'll tell you what, he's lucky to have his head on his shoulders still. Thomas Johnson, the defensive tackle, broke down on that and had a clean shot at him, but just went a little bit too high.
It's been a day of first for Brian Brohm, and now he gets to run the 2-minute offense for the Buffalo Bills. 2nd and 10 from the Atlanta 44-yard line. Showing blitz. Here they come. He gets rid of it, and that's caught by Lee Evans. And Evans gets out of bounds to stop the clock.
Really good job by Brian Brohm. We're talking about how he's going to see a lot of different looks, a lot of different pressures from the Atlanta Falcons. They watch right. You see the pressure coming off right over Roscoe Parrish. Brian Brohm was staring a free blitzer right in the face. Was still able to make the completion on the outside.
Roscoe Parrish playing today because Josh Reed is out. Didn't even make the trip from Buffalo. 3rd and 3. Can the Bills convert again? And here comes the Falcons. We have a flag, and Brohm threw it away down in the dirt.
Unfortunately, it's going to be Kirk Chambers. Illegal hands to the face.
Illegal to the hands. Number 73 to the face. Penalties declined. 4th down.
You got to get our referee Bill Levy a throat lozenge.
Right there, you see, boy, Kirk Chambers just said, "I don't like this helmet on your head. I'm going to take it off for you."
Tough to deny that.
Yeah, and Chambers knew it himself too.
So 4th and 3. And we'll see Brian Moorman.
Well, you know this is a good situation for a fake field goal here, Bill. If I'm Buffalo, you got nothing to lose either.
Fake punt?
A fake punt, excuse me.
Weems standing back at his own 10-yard line. Moorman at midfield. Angles it. And it bounds into the end zone for a touchback.
I was looking forward to some kind of razzle-dazzle there. I was thinking it might be a good time. And you sit there and you say, well, why wouldn't they? I mean, they're 5-9. What do you got to lose? You're not in the playoff hunt.
Right.
You're trying to find a way to spark your team, give them some confidence. But Perry Fuel, he's thinking like a head coach. He's trying to put himself we're in a close ball game. We want to find a way to win this game. We're not going to try and go out of our comfort zone here.
The Bills have been in almost every game they've lost this season. And that's caught by Gonzalez. It's just they haven't been able to close. And they played well again today against Atlanta. It's just 10-0. And that was really one play, the first play from scrimmage. 42-yard touchdown pass to Roddy White for the Falcons. Up the sidelines, Jenkins, the intended receiver, incomplete.
Good coverage on the outside.
Drayton Florence in his 7th year out of Tuskegee.
The perfect position. Matt Ryan getting a chance to show his ability to run the 2-minute offense. That ball right there, just giving Michael Jenkins a chance to go up and get it now. Questionable right there. There was really no effort by Reggie Corner to go up and play that football, but he was in great position.
3rd and 1. High formation. Snelling the deep back. They give it to him. Falls forward, and that'll be a 1st down. Nick Harris made the stop.
Going to clock the football, try and stop it.
Atlanta with 1 timeout remaining.
Okay.
So 59 seconds left in the half. Again, these teams don't play very often. This is just the 10th meeting. Falcons lead the series 5-4. Bills have won only once here in Atlanta. That was way back in 1973. 2nd and 10. Ryan gets rid of it. Booker. And he has a 1st down at the 44-yard line. Posluszny made the tackle.
It looks like they're going to run a play. They're not going to clock it this time.
That was a pickup of 13 yards. 40 seconds left in the half. Ryan toward the sidelines, incomplete. Roddy White was the intended receiver, but it was out of his reach.
you see Roddy White, he tries to make the play. Matt Ryan trying to throw what's called a back shoulder throw, where he actually stops the receiver. He knows that Reggie Corner's got his back to him. He can't see the ball. But Roddy White, unfortunately, was not able to keep his feet. Even great athletes get tangled up once in a while.
Matt Bryant with a very strong leg. Again, he has a 62-yarder. Philadelphia back in 2006. Ryan now flush from the pocket. He slings it out of bounds.
You talk about Matt Bryant, and they made that 51-yarder with ease, the earlier field goal today.
When Atlanta released Jason Elam, Bryant signed with the Falcons at the beginning of the month after 4 seasons with Tampa Bay. 5 of 6 now in field goal tries. Missed one from 48 yards out last week against the Jets, but he's got the big leg.
Well, here's the matchup up top. Roddy White on Reggie Corner.
Ryan in the seam and in out of the hands of Marty Booker.
And that was a good throw by Matt Ryan, but I think we're going to get a holding call.
Before the pass was thrown, illegal contact. Defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, that's the kind of thing that has just killed the Buffalo Bills all season long.
Yeah, you saw Perry Fuel shaking his head, and right, you can just see it right there. Off another contact up the field before the ball got there. That was Ashton Yabuti. Just once you get outside that 5-yard area from where the ball is snapped, the line of scrimmage, they're going to throw that flag every single time.
Yabuti coming back from an ankle injury, playing in the nickel package. 21 seconds left. Ryan to Jenkins. Jenkins to the 42-yard line, and Atlanta takes a timeout. And this would be roughly a 60-yard try from here. 15 seconds left, so time to run another play.
Yeah, you figure they'd run at least one more. Got that one timeout left. Or actually, that was their last timeout. I'm sorry. But 15 seconds gives you enough time. If you complete it, you can even use the middle of the field. You wouldn't want to go any less than 15. But at 15 seconds, the coach knows that he can use the middle of the field, try and pick up significant yardage and get his guys up to the ball, clock it, and still have a second or two left to get your kicking team out there.
So you would think the key there, if you complete the passes, for the receiver to get down.
Receiver get down, and the big boys, the offensive linemen, they've got to truck it to get up there, get on that line of scrimmage, and get set.
Clock running. Ryan to the sideline. Roddy White was well out of bounds. 10 seconds left.
And now it's a different situation. If you throw the ball over the middle of the field now on this play, you don't have enough time to get up there and clock it. So if they are going to run another play, they're going to have to try and find a way, create a way to get the ball to the sideline. Now, Buffalo knows that, which makes it double tough, because they're going to basically give up the middle of the field, knowing that you can't stop the clock. They're going to do whatever they've got to do to keep that ball on the field, keep the clock running.
Tony Gonzalez limping on the sidelines. So 10 seconds left. Ryan rolling, and they'll get it out of bounds.
I like the play.
And that was Roddy White, and now a little more manageable field goal try from Matt Bryant.
Be about a 56-yarder here now. 55-yarder.
5 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, a lot of teams have gone to that, you know, get the quarterback back in the shotgun and run a rollout. So just evolved this year. I've never really seen much of it until this year. Now most teams are starting to do that. Good way to move the pocket.
He was making 50-yarders in the pregame warm-up club with ease. That's blocked, and the Bills have it. They try to keep it alive, and and Corner's running around. Goodness gracious, it's still alive. George Wilson. The only thing missing is the Stanford band. Is he going to score? Oh my goodness! Wow!
The referees are discussing it. I think he just dropped the ball. Potentially it could be an illegal forward pass, but I think Reggie Corner, when he was going down, just dropped the football.
The ruling on the field, the last backward pass was that fumble. Therefore, the runner had to recover it himself and did not. The half is over.
Well, there you go.
Bill Levy with a precise explanation.
What a tremendous effort, though. And Perry Fuel still pleading his case.
The play is going to be reviewed. The play is going to be reviewed.
Well, the Falcons are already headed to the locker room, but they're going to take a look upstairs in the final 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's automatically reviewed in the final 2 minutes of the half or the game. Let's see who it was that got the hand. It looked like it was blocked by Spencer Johnson. All right, there's the flip backwards for sure. And Reggie Corner, boy, made some nice nifty moves in here, spinning and whirling around, and good fake there. But let's see when the ball comes out.
His knee may have been down right there.
His knee may have been down, but what's being ruled, well, I guess when it's reviewed by upstairs, it could be anything reviewed. But that ball was definitely lateral backwards. You could see the intent was by Reggie Corner to get rid of that football backwards. It was not a fumble.
Some fireworks just before halftime here in Atlanta. The Bills have actually been pretty good this year. I mean, there's not a lot has gone right for them, but they've been pretty good on special teams.
You know, referee Bill Levy said it was ruled a fumble on that play. I think clearly we can show that that was not a fumble, but now the question does become whether that knee was down.
Perry Fuel still pleading his case. Let's take another look.
Yeah, knee is down.
He was definitely down.
Yeah. Although he was losing control of the ball. This is one of those things where it's hard to give a definitive answer one way or the other, because he was, as his knee was hitting the ground, the ball was starting to come out of his hand a little bit. Perry Fuel lobbying hard. Yeah, the other thing to consider now, watch George Wilson. When does his knee hit? Is the ball across the plane? Well, I think that's a touchdown for sure. That ball was, I don't think there's any doubt whether he got that ball across the line before his knee hit. But there could be multiple things being reviewed on the same play.
Perry Fuel, he told us he's having the time of his life as the interim head coach.
Number 27 was the runner. His knee was down before he got it. Lost possession, therefore the half is over.
So that will do it in the first half. As we're ready for the start of the second half, the Falcons will have it to begin the third quarter. Last time these two teams played was back in 2005. That was in Buffalo. The Falcons won 24-16, allowing the Bills just 200 yards on offense. Weems takes it at the 5. And upended as he crossed the 20 down to the 25-yard line. Penalty flag down.
During the return, holding, number 54 receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So that'll march the Falcons back. Stephen Nicholas, the linebacker, called for the hold. So they'll spot it back at the 15-yard line. Opening possession of the second half just underway.
And we do not see Tony Gonzalez on the field. You see the quarterback comparison right there. Brian Brom getting it going there a little bit at the end of the first half.
Movement before the snap. Well, we've just been told.
Offside, number 94, defense, 5-yard penalty, First down.
Aaron Schobel, we've just been told that Tony Gonzalez has a calf injury and is not expected to return. So 4 catches away from 1,000 in his career, and that will have to wait until next week on the road at Tampa Bay. 1st and 5 after the penalty. Snelling left side. Out across the 20-yard line.
And Bill, when you talk about Tony Gonzalez, he is not used to watching a football game from the sideline. He does not like it. In his 13-year career, you could count on one hand, I'm sure, how many times that he's sat there on the side and not been able to finish a game and had to watch a full second half of a football game.
Headed to the Hall of Fame. He pretty much has rewritten the record book at the tight end position. Norwood is in, offset I. Ryan slings it to White, who is wide open. Roddy White into Buffalo territory, driven out of bounds by Dante Whitner, the free safety.
Well, very nice execution on that play. Matt Ryan with the play action and caught Buffalo in a very aggressive run defense. You see all the linebackers came up, and Roddy White's hobbling off the field too. But you're going to see with the run fake, all the Buffalo linebackers right there, just a little turn of the shoulders gets them all to step up, and you can see the big hole in the middle of the field. Roddy White comes in from the top. There's nobody to obstruct the view or the lane from Matt Ryan. Huge play to get up.
That was a pickup of 33 yards. Norwood with the toss. Driven out of bounds back at the line of scrimmage, the 47. Ellis Langster, the rookie out of West Virginia, the 7th-round draft pick, made the stop.
Roddy White looking very uncomfortable there. Boy, it would be a huge blow for Atlanta to lose Roddy White at this point after already losing Tony Gonzalez at the end of the first half.
Well, the Falcons have not had anywhere near the injury problems that the Buffalo Bills have experienced, but the injuries that they did get, including Michael Turner and Matt Ryan, came at the wrong time of the season as they were trying to make a push to get into the postseason. Norwood stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
Bill, you mentioned that Matt Ryan, Michael Turner. I mean, you're talking about the 4 marquee players on this team. When you put Roddy White and Tony Gonzalez in the mix right now today, Michael Turner obviously wasn't even activated today. But Matt Ryan, talking about him and what he's had to deal with this year, that's a turf toe injury. Does not sound like much, but I'm telling you, people don't understand. It's on his plant foot, the foot he pushes off of. Mike Smith was telling us when we talked to him on Friday that he can't even make it through a full week of practice at this point.
He has all day. Finally, he's going to have to get rid of it. And that was a great job by the secondary. Crowd wants a flag for a late hit.
It truly was not a late hit. That was Marcus Stroud that just they were kind of shimmying with each other, and Marcus Stroud just conveniently fell on top of Matt Ryan at the end of the play. You'll see there's Stroud come at the field and just kind of, he tried to avoid. Matt Ryan did not take much of that weight, much of that 350 pounds.
And we're going to see Matt Bryant coming out to punt instead of Michael Kanan. By the way, Marcus Stroud played down the road as a star at the University of Georgia, from Georgia. Fair catch called for and made. Well, there's the punter, Michael Kanan. We understand he took a knee to the head on that last play of the first half. So that's why he wasn't out there. Jackson. Tough running inside. See if we can go back and take a look at it.
And that's the last play of the first half, that circus play, where he kind of dove in and tried to make the tackle, did stick his nose in there.
That was actually not a bad tackle.
No, he's laughing about it right now.
Over there talking to some of the guys. Do you speak kicker, by the way? Is it all your years in the league?
That is a whole different language. Trust me.
2nd and 8 for the Bills. Rom fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. How would you assess, Steve, his performance so far?
Well, I would assess it as encouraging. Let's put it that way. I think he started out a little bit tentative, which was his fear. And right here, I think he made a good decision because there was nothing available. He was looking to go to T.O., and Brent Grimes jumped the slant route, was inside of Terrell Owens. Therefore, Brian Brohm, if he throws that ball, only bad things are going to happen. He made a good decision, picked up a couple yards. But I think his improvement has been considerable from the start of the game.
3rd and long, 3rd and 8. Brohm tipped away. He was trying to go to Jonathan Stupar, the tight end. And if that ball had not been knocked away, Stupar would have had some running room.
And I'll tell you what, this ball could have been a touchdown. You're going to see number 26, Eric Coleman, coming in from you can see the pressure that was on Brian Brohm at that point. But Eric Coleman, when that ball on the other side after it was thrown, stepped in front and could have intercepted that ball and walked in for a touchdown.
Mormon, who's had a huge day, the most prolific punter in Buffalo history, a career average of 43.5 yards from his own end zone. Falcons should have good field position. Weems gets it into Buffalo territory and has some room. A great return by Eric Weems in his 2nd year out of Bethune-Cookman. A 43-yard punt and a 28-yard return.
If you're going to be a punt returner in the NFL, you have got to be fearless. And Weimer, I'm telling you, he looked fearless on this one. I've been impressed today. Just, you can tell certain guys when they get the ball in their hand, they don't even think about it. He just goes. He tucked it. He saw a seam. He hit it hard. He's not afraid of the potential big hit coming. He just says, my job is to be aggressive, running this football straight up the field. Super job by Weems.
All the way back to the 27-yard line of the Buffalo Bills. I formation. Roddy White is back in there. Norwood is the deep back. They pick up the blitz. Ryan. And that was almost intercepted. Jenkins was the intended receiver. Nice job by the Buffalo secondary.
Well, that ball was tipped, I think, at the line of scrimmage because it really floated out there.
Langster's the rookie 7th-round draft pick out of the University of West Virginia.
You see the play action fake, and Paul Posluszny got his left hand up and tipped that ball because I knew Matt Ryan was not hit as he threw. That ball came out kind of fluttering.
2nd and 10. And let's see who jumped first.
That's going to be a tough call because Justin Blaylock, the left guard, was reacting to Chris Draft shooting, Chris Draft shooting the gap, trying to time up the snap. They both were technically guilty. I don't know who they're going to call it on.
Neutral zone infraction. Number 52 defense. 5-yard
They'll
penalty.
call it on Draft. He signed with the Bills back in October after he was released by the Rams prior to the start of the season.
Well, there's Chris Draft right here. You can see him coming in, and definitely Justin Blaylock moved before the snap too, but he was provoked to move there by Chris Draft trying to time up the snap count.
So they'll move it up 5 yards, and it'll be 2nd and 5 from the 22-yard line. Snelling alone in the backfield. White again is the motion man. They give it to Snelling. And he gets it inside the 20.
Bill, when we talked to Chris Kelsey yesterday, one of the things that he pointed out to us and was very clear on was that this Atlanta Falcons offense is a very physical offense. The offensive line, they like to get up in your face and really get after you. And Kelsey said that one thing we have to do is we have to step up, we have to man up and give it right back to them, because if we don't, we're going to be seeing it all day.
3rd and a long 3. Ryan. And he's going to be sacked. Brought down by Aaron Schobel.
Well, I'll tell you, Sam Baker, the left tackle for Atlanta, is really having his problems with Aaron Schobel. He's giving him a short corner every time. Schobel's not doing anything tricky. He's just coming with speed around that edge, and I think that Sam Baker either has a misunderstanding of where Matt Ryan is setting up in the pocket, or he just can't keep up with Aaron Schobel, because Aaron Schobel has come around that edge several times and gotten a hand on Matt Ryan. That gives Aaron Schobel 9 sacks on the year as the Falcons go for it on 4th down.
3 sacks for the Buffalo Bills, and they're going to convert this 4th down. Roddy White. And a smile from Matt Ryan.
That's an interesting call. Going forward on 4th and 10 in easy field goal range. But Matt Ryan, boy, standing strong in that pocket. Roddy White did a good job coming back for the football. Matt Ryan delivered it right on the money. Ashton Yabodi nowhere near an opportunity to make a play there.
112 yards receiving. Snelling picks up a couple. Spencer Johnson, who rotates in at defensive tackle, made the stop.
I'm still trying to figure out what Atlanta was doing going for it on 4th and 10 there. It obviously worked out for him, but Matt Bryant, I'm looking at him down on the sideline. He's warming up on the sideline, still kicking. It was easy field goal range. They're up 10-0. Mike Smith and his staff must have seen something. Mike Mularkey.
Snelling stopped short of the 10-yard line. That might have been one of those why not kind of deals.
Yeah,
you figure you're 7-7. You're trying for the first of back-to-back winning seasons in the 44-year history of the franchise. Why not?
You're exactly right. As they would see Mike Mularkey right here, the offensive coordinator. You know what? Let's see how these guys respond to a situation they're not put in very often. They responded very well.
Mularkey, the former head coach of the Buffalo Bills for 2 seasons. So 3rd and 7. Bills are showing blitz, and here they come. The slant. Touchdown, Booker. Aaron Booker. And the right call, excuse me, Marty Booker, and the right call at the right time.
No gimmicks there. That was just a straight slant route. Matt Ryan dropped back, had no doubt where he was going. Marty Booker got the inside position on Reggie Corner, and the rest is history.
First touchdown of the season for Marty Booker. Originally a 3rd-round draft pick by the Chicago Bears. Signed by Atlanta back in August, so the Falcons are able to extend their lead. 12-yard touchdown pass. Ryan to Marty Booker on 3rd and 7. And our kickoff man, do not adjust your set. That's Croy Bierman, the defensive end. It's come to this. That may have been why they decided to go for it on 4th down. And that's a pretty good kick to the 3-yard line. Jackson brought down hard, short of the 20. Matt Bryant talking to the team doctors on the sidelines. That may be why we saw Croy Bierman kicking off. He did a pretty good job. Got it down to the 3-yard line. That's not bad for a defensive lineman in his 2nd year out of Montana. 7:28 left in the 3rd. Lynch swarmed under for a loss. Great penetration by the Atlanta Falcons. Let's take a look at Bierman after the kick. Going to the sideline. Yeah, I got that.
A little bit of high-fiving going on.
All of his teammates, great job.
You know what? He must have had his kicker shoe on right there. He's putting his defensive end shoes back on here.
If I'm going to do the kicking, I need to unwrap these ankles a little bit.
I got to free myself up a little bit, yeah.
Loss of 3 on 1st down. So 2nd and 13. Marshawn Lynch alone in the backfield. A flag on the play. Lynch catches it on the check down, spins his way out of trouble, and gets out to the 24-yard line. And we'll check the penalty. Preliminary signal against Buffalo.
Illegal formation. Number 76 offense was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
So 2nd and 19 They'll keep it on the ground. Jackson. And the ball is down. And the Falcons have it. This could be a touchdown for Atlanta. Lawrence Sidbury, the rookie out of Richmond.
This is Perry Fuel's worst nightmare, to have these things happen and losing control of the ball. Now, let's see what happened. Fred Jackson's got the ball there. Yeah, it was.
He just
stripped.
took it away.
It was stripped, yeah. And Lawrence Sidbury looked like he knew what to do when he got that football. He was not going to be denied.
Rumbling into the end zone. 4th round draft pick out of the University of Richmond, and he has a touchdown for the Atlanta Falcons. And Matt Bryant is out to try the extra point, and he's got it. And we're back. 14 points for the Atlanta Falcons in a minute and a half. 24-0, and here's Bierman again.
He just looks funny measuring his steps.
He's just excited to be out there.
Not as good a result
bit
there.
Of a squibber. Justin Jenkins trying to get to the outside, and he'll be brought down at the 24-yard line. Eric Brock made the tackle.
Well, you know, it's interesting to see Coy Bierman, but why isn't Matt Bryant kicking off is what I'm wondering. I mean, I love seeing the big man kick the football, don't get me wrong, but your place kicker, who's really a specialist as the place kicking field, Cannon is usually the kickoff guy. He's hurt, he's out of the game. You would think your backup or your place kicker has a little bit more experience kicking off than your starting defensive end or backup defensive end.
5:59 left to go in the third. Bills will begin from their own 24-yard line. T.O. is the motion man. Jackson the deep back in the offset eye. Short drop from Braum, and he gets it out to McIntyre, the fullback. McIntyre is driven out of bounds at the 30-yard line by Brent Grimes. Corey McIntyre, in his 5th year out of West Virginia, came in with 3 receptions this year for 27 yards, and he's gotten some opportunities today with Brian Braum in at quarterback. Brian Braum, the 56th pick overall in the 2008 draft. Selected in the 2nd round by the Green Bay Packers. Signed up the Packers practice squad 6 weeks ago. McIntyre again. And this will move the chains. So 1st and 10 for Buffalo. Braum straight back. Gets rid of it. T.O. wide open. And he is into Atlanta territory. Thomas Deku, the free safety, made the tackle. And that was a pickup of 15 yards.
Well, it looks like Alex Van Pelt and Perry Fuel for the Buffalo Bills have decided to let Brian Braum open it up a little bit. They're, down 24-0. I don't see why they wouldn't let this kid drop back and throw a few and see what he can do. He's made 3 good decisions in a row. Hit his fullback Corey McIntyre a couple times, and a nice play to Terrell Owens right there.
4 catches for T.O., 39 yards. Give it to McIntyre. Second and 8 for Buffalo. Ball just inside the 45-yard line. They pick up the blitz. Braum gets rid of it. And that's caught by Lee Evans at the 30. Brent Grimes made the stop.
Perry Fuel likes what he sees right now from his young quarterback, from the offense. They're obviously making a few more plays now than we saw earlier in the game, but it's also because of the fact they're down 24-0. Atlanta trying to make sure they don't give up the big plays, keeping everything underneath them, but Buffalo still executing very well.
1st and 10 from the Atlanta 30. Braum incomplete, and that was intended for the tight end Stupar. Couldn't quite extend and bring it in. And again, Brian Braum has looked ever more comfortable as the game has gone on. just signed from the Packers practice squad November 19th. And this is an opportunity for the Bills to give him a look, because that could determine what they do in the NFL draft next year, how aggressive they are at the quarterback position. 2nd and 10. Brom to Evans. And brought down immediately, and late hit by Levitri, but no flag.
Well, we've seen Brian Brom's improvement here as the game has gone along. I'd like to see him get a chance to maybe push the ball up the field a little bit, see if he can make a few bigger chunks. We've seen a couple of deep balls thrown, one overthrown to Terrell Owens, one intercepted because Terrell Owens didn't fight for the football. But I'm impressed with how comfortable he's looking out there right now.
And a timeout on the field. We're back at the Georgia Dome. The Buffalo Bills driving, trying to get on the scoreboard, trailing 24-0. 3rd and 4. Empty backfield, shotgun formation. Guam sets his feet, gets rid of it, incomplete. Terrell Owens was the intended receiver, and that was knocked away by Corey Wire, the former Bill, who was Buffalo's 3rd-round pick back in 2003. And we've gotten word, by the way, that Michael Kanan is out for the game with a blow to the head. Matt Bryant strained a hamstring, so he is only going to try short field goals. And Corey Bierman, the backup defensive end, will continue to kick off for Atlanta, as we see Ryan Lindell on to try a 42-yard field goal. And just inside that right upright. So the Buffalo Bills are on the board with 1:58 left to go in the 3rd. 24-3 Atlanta. Well, the Atlanta Falcons trying to do something they've never accomplished before in the 44-year history of the franchise. Back-to-back winning seasons. They can hang on and win today, then next week they'll go into Tampa Bay against the 2-12 Buccaneers and try to run their record to 9-7. And in talking to the players and also Mike Smith, I mean, that's an important thing for these guys.
Every single person we spoke to said the same thing, and that's they want to be the ones that got it right. Now, sure, the goal was a lot higher this year coming off of last year. They expected to contend. They expected to win the NFC South and contend for the NFC Championship. But now this is all they've got to shoot for, but they're going to take a lot of pride if they can accomplish it.
Lindell's kick. Weems at the goal line. And tripped up out across the 30-yard line to the 32. Well, and you know, this is important for the Falcons, and this is probably why, because in professional sports it is the longest drought for back-to-back winning seasons. The start of the franchise back in 1966, 43 years. And we showed you at the top of the day all the great players, starting with Tommy Nobis, who have come through here. And it really is remarkable. There's Arthur Blank, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons. It really is remarkable that they have not put together consecutive winning seasons here in Atlanta. Snelling got across the 35, close to the 36-yard line.
But I will tell you this, Bill, Arthur Blank and this Atlanta Falcons organization, they are very close. Very, very close to being right where they want to be. They thought Tony Gonzalez was the key. They know they're a little bit young on defense. That's really been one of the big factors. Defensively, they need to step it up a notch. Mike Smith told us when we talked to him on Thursday that that's an area of focus. The young defensive backs, the young linebackers have to step up and play at a higher level. But this team is very, very close to being an elite team.
2nd and 7. Snelling. And that's a first down. Good tough running to the 45-yard line.
You look at the Atlanta Falcons, their season so far, they really easily could have beaten New Orleans both times. I don't want to say easily, but they were in both those games right at the end, had a chance to beat them both times. they're playing with the top teams in this league. They're not backing down from anybody, and you get their team healthy again, they're going to be right in the middle of things next year.
That run moved the chains. 1st and 10 from the Atlanta 45. And they're going to run the reverse to Weems. Around the corner and steps out of bounds close to the 35-yard line.
You know who the closest man to making this tackle is Matt Ryan. Watch right here on the handoff. He almost knocks him down. But other than that, Weems had absolutely nobody to deal with until Dante Whitner came and bumped him out of bounds.
That was good for 18 yards. Final home game of the season for the Atlanta Falcons. They were outgained against the Jets last week. 14 points in the 3rd quarter for the Atlanta Falcons. They lead 24-3 as we start the final quarter. And there's the reverse to Booker. Booker brought down at the 30-yard line by Marcus Stroud. Ryan steps up and checks it down, incomplete. And that was intended for the fullback, Muhaley. Obi Muhaley in his 7th year out of Wake Forest. Primarily a blocking back, where really he is a beast. Came in with 7 catches as they use him as a receiver out of the backfield at times for 51 yards.
You talk about the playoffs situation in the 2nd game of the doubleheader. Denver going to Philadelphia. Josh McDaniel. Denver started out so hot, 6-0. They're going into a hornet's nest just to stay alive in Philadelphia, playing as well as anybody right now.
That's a tough place to play, even for the home team. Little trickery. They get it to Weems, and Weems is hit hard by Dante Whitner. Decleated near the sideline.
Yeah, that was a very unique play design. It was a kind of an exotic formation by the Atlanta Falcons, but boy, Dante Whitner was not at all fooled. You're going to see him come up and lay the wood right there on the sideline. Weems didn't have a chance. Falcons going for it again here on 4th down.
Again, Matt Bryant has a strained hamstring. Michael Kanan, the punter, is hurt. So on 4th down, incomplete. Here in the final quarter, Buffalo Bills go back to work from their own 31-yard line. Terrell Owens, this end around is not going to work. Mike Peterson was right there.
No, there was no chance for success from that play. I don't think that Terrell Owens at this point in his career is really your best reverse guy, number one. I think you've got a few guys on that team that might be a little bit more acclimated or a better fit for that. Roscoe Parrish being one. And that's not taking anything away from Terrell Owens. This is not his strength at this point in his career.
So loss of 4 on the play. 2nd and 14.
Delay a game.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, there's an awful lot for Brian Brohm to digest. He's been with the Bills only 5 weeks, primarily on the scout team. So this week he had to learn not only the game plan, but also he's still learning the basics of the offense.
Exactly right. It's a whole new language. This is not a West Coast offense that he was experienced in the last couple years in Green Bay. It's like speaking a foreign language. Very difficult.
So they march it back to the 21-yard line. 2nd and 19. Draw play to Lynch. To the 27. Corey Wire, the former Bill, made the tackle. There's Richie Incognito, who was signed before last week and saw plenty of action in that game. Started today, and he said, you know, Buffalo's a working class town and I'm a working class guy. I really like it there. I like how the fans embrace the team, and I'd like to have a future with the Buffalo Bills. 3rd and long for Buffalo. Brom has time, gets rid of it, intended for Owens and overthrown. So the Bills will have to punt.
Well, that's what happened. You consider all the things that this Buffalo team has been through this year, and you put a quarterback in there making his first start on an offense that was not very productive for the whole part of the whole season to this point. It's not a recipe for success. This is a team that is going to overhaul a bunch of different aspects of its organization from the inside out, and hopefully get themselves on the right track starting next year.
Another big punt from Mormon, who's averaging over 48 yards a punt. Well, we're back at the Georgia Dome. 11:42 left to play. The Falcons take over, 1st and 10 from their own 19-yard line. And Ryan will throw. Lots of time to the sideline, and caught by Roddy White.
Good grab by Roddy White. Matt Ryan, you see him come out of the hard play action fake. He was looking to Michael Jenkins down the left side. Didn't see what he wanted, had no hesitation, knew where Roddy White was going to be on the sideline, and put a nice ball out there. Good, solid catch.
The only player in the NFC since 2007 with more receiving yards than Roddy White is Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, he has become an elite receiver in the National Football League. From the 35, Norwood sprints to the perimeter. Still on his feet and finally driven out of bounds. A great run. Dante Whitner finally corralled him.
Boy, Jarius Norwood is an exciting runner. He gets that football in his hands, and his acceleration is phenomenal. Mike Smith was telling us the 1-2 combination of he and Michael Turner is a great fit because they're so different in style and ability and what you can do with them. Both of them been bumped up a little bit this year, so it's been hard to get him in the groove.
48 yards on 10 carries for Norwood, who stays in the game. He's the deep back. Left side. And he's down to the 42-yard line. This Buffalo defense last in the NFL against the run. They do a pretty good job 85–90% of the time, but they have so much emphasis on the point of attack that if you can get through to the second, third level, you can break a big play. And there's Chris Kelsey in his 7th year out of Nebraska. Second on the Bills in sacks, coming in with 5, but it's been a big day for that man, Aaron Schobel. 3 sacks, that gives him 10 on the season. 2nd and 8 for Atlanta. Snelling. And he's inside the 40, down to the 38-yard line. Well, you just get a sense as you watch the Atlanta Falcons and you think about their year this year, and they beat teams with losing records, and that trend will continue. They lost to teams with winning records, but with all the injuries that they've had, especially at the wrong time, as we're making a push toward the postseason, that this is going to be a pretty good team next year.
Oh, I have no doubt in my mind. They truly are. When they're healthy, when they've got all their people rolling, as we see the nice shovel pass inside
to Snelling.
But they truly are an elite team, I believe, and can play with anybody in this league. Gained a lot of confidence last year. This year's been a big disappointment. Look at the fake little pitch out to the outside of Norwood, and then back underneath to Snelling. Little creativity from Mike Mularkey.
Falcons have a young secondary, but they're getting better every week, and they found themselves an outstanding middle linebacker in Curtis Lofton in his 2nd year. 2nd in the league in tackles to Patrick Willis.
Well, I think as important as anything is just the stability that Mike Smith and his staff bring to this team. They know what they want to do, and they got a plan to get there.
Again, it's Snelling, and he battles his way inside the 30 down to the 28-yard line. Meanwhile, for the Buffalo Bills, it will be interesting to see what they do in the offseason and the kinds of moves they make. Aaron Schobel has talked about his future and has let it be known that he's considering leaving the game at the end of this season. Might be just a guy who's discouraged after being in the league for 9 years and never getting to the postseason. End around to Norwood, and he's stopped for a loss. That time the Bills were waiting. George Wilson, the strong safety, made the tackle.
Yeah, you talk about Schobel. This is a guy that's played at a very high level in Buffalo for his whole career, 9 years, and it's been a tough 9 years. He's a Texas boy, gets himself. He's got to obviously train hard to keep himself in shape. He gets beat up. He's an undersized defensive end who's got a very unique ability to rush the passer. He's strong at the point of attack against the run, but he's been beat up, and mentally I think he's been beat up as much as anything, and just trying to decide if he wants to deal with it anymore.
3rd and 7 for the Falcons. Ryan across the middle to White, and he's going to be a yard or so short of the first down. But they're going to go for it because they don't have a kicker to use.
Because that's what they do.
That's what they do, exactly.
And this is a 3rd and a long yard. And we talk about the struggles, or 4th and a long yard, excuse me. Talk about the struggles of this defense against the run. And Chris Kelsey, the defensive end, just basically told us it's a lack of accountability and responsibility. You play hard for 9 plays out of 10, and you're in responsible places, and one play you bust an assignment. That's all it takes.
They'll go from the shotgun on 4th and 1. Ryan. Jenkins. Norwood fights his way down to the 6. They'll bring up 2nd and goal. Well, this game has been dominated by the Atlanta Falcons. It's one of the few games this year under Dick Duron or Perry Fewell that the Buffalo Bills have not been in the 4th quarter. 2nd and goal after they spotted at the 7. Snelling lowers his shoulder down inside the 5. Some extra pushing and shoving. No penalty flag. This is the time of game when it's already been decided, when things can get a little chippy.
You know, this Buffalo Bills team, you ask what do they need to get it right. I don't know if there's a particular need. I think what they need is just something that they can count on. They can hang their hat on, a stability that they haven't had there, and something that these players can really believe in. They need to have some good things happen to get the community back behind them.
3rd and goal from the 5 to White. Did he get both feet down? Yes, they say. Roddy White with his 10th touchdown catch of the season.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a beautiful throw and catch. I really, when the ball was put up in the air, I was wondering what Matt Ryan was doing. But he saw that Drayton Florence was peeking back into the backfield, that Roddy White, he knew exactly where Roddy White was going to be, and Roddy White doing a great job getting those toes down inbounds. Fantastic execution by both those guys.
5-yard touchdown pass. 2 touchdown catches today for Roddy White, giving the Falcons a 31-3 lead with 4:22 left to play. And again, we're going to see Croy Bierman kick off. So he's had one good one that was a little dicey.
He's going to run out of time. He's going to get delayed a game here if he doesn't watch out.
Got the top of that one, and it's fielded at the 11. Jackson reverses his field. He's got some running room now, but we've got a flag. They're going to bring this back. Jackson. Finally brought down by Bierman. But there's a penalty flag back at the 31-yard line.
During the return, holding number 25, receiving team. 10-yard penalty.
Short drop, the slant to James Hardy. Second-round draft pick a year ago out of the University of Indiana. And Matt Ryan will continue his tremendous record here in the Georgia Dome. He will be 13-1 here at home as the starter.
Not high percentage, but big yards, a lot of big plays, and then 3 touchdowns, no interceptions for the second week in a row.
2nd and 1. Brom picked off. What a tremendous athletic play by Brent Grimes, his 5th interception of the season.
He had 2 last week against Mark Sanchez and the New York Jets. Boy, he timed this one absolutely perfectly. You're going to see the out route. That was Lee Evans on the outside there. The ball by Brian Brom a little bit late, a little bit behind him. And I'll tell you what, late and inside in the NFL against the cornerback that's got an idea the ball's coming that way, that will cost you every single time. But this young man, Brent Grimes, showing a nose for the football. 3 interceptions the last 2 weeks.
So we'll see another quarterback from Louisville. Chris Redman will come in now to run this Atlanta offense with less than 3.5 minutes remaining. They give it to Adam Steckler, the second back through, and he picks up 2.
You know, the most famous Louisville quarterback, of course, the one and only Johnny U.
The crew-cutted one.
That's right. Another one that in that line played for a few years in the NFL, Browning Nagel. But Johnny U, definitely the man.
Chris Redman, who started 2 games for Matt Ryan, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 78.5, filling in. Threw for over 300 yards against New Orleans a couple weeks ago. 2nd and 8. Stecker's the deep back, and he gets it. Fights his way inside the 20, down close to the 19-yard line. Well, the Falcons don't have to run a play, so this will take us down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go. It has been all Falcons here in the Georgia Dome. 31-3. They'll run their record to 8-7, and the Buffalo Bills will drop to 5-10. Chris Redman running this Atlanta offense. Stecker gets the perimeter and goes down before he goes out of bounds.
Smart play. That's the kind of thing that draws attention from the coaches. When a young player like that knows exactly the situation, knows going out of bounds is the worst thing you could do. Didn't pick up the first down, gave that up, but you know you got a situation where you're going to go for it on 4th down, and getting that extra play, letting more time off the clock is a better situation than saving that 40 seconds.
They're going to let the play clock wind down to 1 second or so and take a timeout. And that's exactly what they do. 1:13 left to play. Quarterback sneak on 4th and 1, and that will be enough for the first down, and that will do it.
I'll tell you what, though, in the NFC, there aren't many teams playing better than the Philadelphia Eagles right now either. They're clicking on all cylinders.
New Orleans might have a little something to say about that, but their defense is a little suspect. And let's take a look at the updated AFC playoff picture now.
There you have it.
San Diego clinched the number 2 seed with their victory. New England, Cincinnati are now in. They've clinched their divisions. And the Falcons will just let time run out. So they are now 1 victory away from back-to-back winning seasons for the first time in the 44-year history of this Atlanta franchise. They're going to have to win on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week to finish at 9-7.